chaos on both sides of the border. In just a matter of hours, relentless storms transformed quiet streets into raging rivers. Entire blocks in Mexicali, Mexico were swallowed by floods and mudslides. Streets cracked open with sinkholes, power lines came crashing down, and hundreds of families were forced to flee through waist-deep water. But the devastation didn't stop at the border. In Southern California, walls of mud and debris ripped through mountain towns in San Bernardino County. Homes were buried, vehicles swept away, and tragically, a 2-year-old boy lost his life when floodwaters carried his family's car off the road. Tonight, we piece together how this storm spiraled into disaster from the Mexican monsoon rains slamming Baja, California, to the deadly mudslides in California's burn scar zones. We'll uncover the human stories of survival, the infrastructure pushed to the breaking point, and the warnings that millions across the West Coast now can't afford to ignore.
Uh-oh, there comes the house.
Oh my gosh, y'all look.
Authorities in Baja, California, Mexico are scrambling to repair the damage left behind by torrential rains earlier this week. In the town of San Ignacio, located in Mulegay municipality, roads were ripped apart as floodwaters surged through neighborhoods. Crews worked overnight to clear piles of debris, rocks, branches, and mud that had blocked traffic on both local streets and the Trans-Peninsular Highway, the only lifeline connecting these rural communities to the rest of the region. Mayor Edith Aguilar Vivencio reported that food and water supplies had to be rushed into the hardest-hit towns as families remained cut off by flooded roads. State and federal brigades, including units from the Mexican Army and Navy, were deployed with heavy equipment to restore access to remote villages. The challenge wasn't just about clearing streets in some areas. Massive sinkholes opened up, swallowing vehicles and forcing officials to carve out alternate routes for drivers trying to escape the flood zone. The Mexican National Weather Service warned that the threat is not over. Additional rounds of heavy rain are still in the forecast, fueled by the late summer monsoon system and moisture streaming in from both the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. With rainfall totals already topping 12 inches in some rural districts, authorities are urging residents to remain on high alert and to avoid crossing fast-moving streams that can turn deadly in seconds.
I'm okay.
My car's gone.
I'm okay. It's okay. Oh.
As the floodwaters spread beyond San Ignacio, rural communities across southern Baja, California reported some of the most dramatic impacts. In La Paz, streams swelled to historic levels, forcing civil protection officials to warn residents not to cross them under any circumstances. What was once a dry arroyo became a raging torrent, powerful enough to sweep away vehicles and block bridges. The Mexican monsoon system continued to dump heavy rain across the state. Some towns measured 6 to 8 inches of rain in less than 24 hours, a staggering total for a region better known for its desert climate. Officials warned that these sudden downpours could trigger flash floods and dangerous debris flows, especially in areas with burn scars from past wildfires. Residents described scenes of chaos. In one village, families stood on rooftops as water surged through their homes. In another, farmers tried desperately to move cattle and goats to higher ground, only to watch corrals collapse under the weight of the flood. The situation grew so dire that soldiers had to airlift supplies into isolated pockets where roads had been completely washed away. Meteorologists say the storm's impact wasn't confined to Baja, California. Moisture from the system spilled into Sonora, Sinaloa, and Durango, spreading the flooding threat across a wider region. In the coming days, forecasters expect intense thunderstorms and localized rainfall of up to 3 inches per hour, keeping entire communities on edge. In the city of Mexicali, the late afternoon storm unleashed chaos almost instantly. Heavy rain began around 4:30 p.m., first hitting the eastern districts before sweeping into downtown by evening. Within just a few hours, entire neighborhoods were underwater. By nightfall, city crews had logged nearly 400 emergency calls about flooding sinkholes and power outages. Authorities scrambled to respond. Pumping stations were activated at key choke points across the city from Colonia El Vidrio to Villa Colonial, while crews with giant suction trucks worked non-stop to clear storm drains clogged with debris. Officials say that blocked drainage systems were one of the biggest culprits, turning streets into rivers and leaving drivers stranded. The Public Services Commission reported sinkholes erupting across the city, some big enough to swallow sections of roadway. The largest appeared at the busy intersection of Zaragoza and Cayaco, plunging nearly 5 feet deep and exposing sewer pipes. Other collapses were reported in front of government buildings and along major avenues, forcing detours and snarling traffic late into the night. Power failures added to the danger. In several neighborhoods, downed utility poles left hundreds of families in the dark. In the Abasolo and Villa Verde districts, electrical lines collapsed under the weight of waterlogged soil, sparking fears of electrocution. Utility crews worked through the night racing to restore service, but warned that full recovery could take days.
Es el 28 que requiere el apoyo en 2 y 3.
Across the border in California's Inland Empire, the same storm system proved just as devastating. In Barstow, floodwaters swept a family's car off the road. 26-year-old Brandon Padilla Aguilera was rescued alive, clinging to a patch of dry land. But his 2-year-old son, Xavier, was torn from his arms and carried away by the current. For more than 20 hours, search teams combed the channels and flood basins. By Friday afternoon, the boy's body was discovered in the Mojave River Flood Control Channel. The tragedy shook the community. Local police described the storm as a freight train of water, reminding residents how fast debris flows, and flash floods can strike, especially in burn-scarred landscapes. Further west in the San Bernardino Mountains, mud and debris cascaded into neighborhoods at terrifying speed. In Forest Falls, a wall of mud and boulders poured into backyards, toppling propane tanks and triggering gas leaks. Some residents were nearly trapped inside their homes as roads disappeared under a slurry of rocks, branches, and uprooted trees. At Camp Cedar Falls, parts of the mountain road were buried overnight, stranding drivers for hours until crews could dig them out. Others described the force of the mudslides as sounding like an earthquake, sudden, violent, and unstoppable. By Friday morning, at least 2 homes were declared unsafe, dozens of cars were buried, and entire neighborhoods faced days without power. Local officials warned residents that when living near canyons or old wildfire scars, debris flows can arrive without warning. No sound, no time to react, only destruction in seconds.
Compañeros, ahí está ya colapsó lo que es el puente.
Ya, se lo llevo.
Beyond the human tragedies, the scale of this storm stretched across Southern California and northern Mexico, leaving scars from the mountains to the desert. The National Weather Service reported nearly 4.5 inches of rain in Running Springs, 2.5 inches near Big Bear Lake, and nearly half an inch in Oak Glen, enough to trigger violent debris flows in areas already weakened by past wildfires. In Mexicali, just south of the border, emergency crews pumped out flooded neighborhoods after rainfall totals topped 1.4 inches in just a few hours. At least 4 sinkholes opened across the city, one measuring nearly 5 feet deep, swallowing parts of major roads. Power outages swept across neighborhoods as poles collapsed under the force of the flood. In California, highways like State Route 38 through the San Bernardino Mountains were completely shut down, with more than 6 vehicles and 10 people stranded overnight. County crews described clearing boulders the size of cars just to reopen critical routes. And even as skies began to clear Friday evening, meteorologists warned the danger is far from over. Another round of tropical moisture could reach the region by next week, with a 25% chance of rain over the San Bernardino Mountains and higher odds for San Diego and Riverside counties. For burned and unstable slopes, that's a recipe for renewed mudslides. Officials are urging residents to stay alert, prepare evacuation plans, and never underestimate the speed at which flash floods and debris flows can strike. As one county fire spokesperson put it, "You won't hear it coming, you won't see it coming. When it arrives, it's already too late."
Oh, they're from the house.
Oh my gosh, y'all look.
As the storm's waters slowly receded, communities across San Bernardino County and Mexicali were left to pick up the pieces. Emergency shelters opened their doors to families forced from homes in flood zones, while the Red Cross and local churches distributed food, bottled water, and blankets. Crews worked through the night with heavy equipment pumping water from inundated neighborhoods and clearing mud-choked streets. In Oak Glen, residents dug vehicles out of thick debris, while in Forest Falls propane leaks and toppled utility poles made recovery even more dangerous. Power crews from the Federal Electricity Commission in Mexico and the California utility companies scrambled to restore service in neighborhoods left in the dark. The emotional toll, however, may be the hardest to repair. In Barstow, neighbors lit candles and left stuffed animals near the wash where 2-year-old Xavier Padilla Aguilera's body was found. His death became a tragic reminder of how quickly nature's fury can upend lives. Yet, amid the heartbreak, resilience shines through. Residents in hard-hit neighborhoods spoke of neighbors helping neighbors, sharing generators, clearing debris together, and checking in on the elderly. Local officials pledged state and federal support to rebuild damaged roads, restore communications, and strengthen flood defenses before the next storm. Still, the message remains sobering. This disaster is not just a fluke event, it's part of a growing pattern of extreme weather fueled by late summer monsoon surges and the lingering impacts of tropical systems. For millions living in California's flood and fire-scarred landscapes, the question isn't if another disaster will strike, but when.
Oh.
The other side of that one right there.
I'm okay.
My car's gone.
I'm okay. It's okay.
This was Tropical Storm Regasa, a powerful reminder of nature's fury and the resilience of those who face it. From the mountains of Southern California to the border city of Mexicali, the storm left behind both heartbreak and hope, testing the strength of families, neighbors, and entire communities. As recovery continues, one truth stands out: preparedness saves lives. Whether it's having an evacuation plan, checking flood insurance, or looking out for vulnerable neighbors, every step matters when seconds count. Thank you for watching and staying informed with us. If you found this report important, please hit the like button, share this video with friends and family, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of extreme weather and natural disasters. And now we'd like to hear from you. Have you or your community ever faced a storm like Regasa? How did you prepare, and what lessons did you take away from it? Share your stories in the comments below. Your experience could help someone else stay safe next time.